Hello, everyone. Welcome on our Friday afternoon talk. Today, I'm Diana Rankin, by the way. I think most of you probably know that. And today we are going to answer one of your questions. This has to do with pets, and we'll get into that. This is our 12th week of the 2021. Excuse me. So it's March 21st to the 27th, and we will get a message from Phillip. For those of you who are unfamiliar with this book, we just open, it's got different wisdom on each page, and we'll just open and get our message, our soul message for the week. But first, one of these days, I might get a new chair or oil this one. I apologize for it squeaking. It's just one of those, I've gotten so used to it, and it's so comfortable that I keep it. So, okay, here we go. Our question this week is, and by the way, for those of you who are new, we welcome you. But if you have a question, you can just put it in the comments below, and I pick those up and put it in the queue. And all of these questions come from our viewers. So thank you. And thank you for telling your friends about us. And thank you for coming back week after week. We really appreciate you. So our question this week is one that's dear to my heart. By the way, the questions, do keep them universal, that everybody will have an interest in them rather than personal questions about you. For personal questions, please check below how to get a hold of me, and we'll set up a session for you personally. Wendy, yes, you made it. And hi, Judy in London. Now, Judy, I have to ask you, are you talking London, Ohio or London, England? I'm going to guess London, England, since you just say London. So welcome. We're so glad to have all of you who are able to make it to us live. That's kind of exciting. And the second, Judy says, so London, England, and we do have several viewers from down under as well, New Zealand, Australia, as well as across the US and other parts of Europe. And by the way, for those of you who celebrate St. Patrick's Day, I hope you had a good one this time. I didn't celebrate. I just went out in the sunshine and went for a drive out here in the country and ran a few errands. So I kind of have my celebrations privately these days. So, all right, here's our question. If it is correct that our pets, like people, have free will, how can we best balance respecting the animal's free will with the need to impose restrictions that allow them to live in the human world? And before I answer that, Judy says she meant the UK, United Kingdom, of course. We get that confused over here and do just say London, England, which I guess is correct too. I'm not sure. I have been to London. I will tell you, I loved it. It's been quite a while since I was there. And I love the theater district of that. I just love that. So, and there were other places of London I found really interesting. So anyway, we continue. I haven't been to Australia yet, but that's on the bucket list. So here's the answer to this. Phillip says, let us first acknowledge that yes, those you call your pets have free will, as do humans. And like humans, restrictions are enacted for the greater good. I'm going to reread that because I think that's important to hear. Let us first acknowledge that yes, those you call your pets have free will, as do humans. And like humans, restrictions are enacted for the greater good. Animals also make soul contracts like humans do. And like humans, there are animals who have lived multiple lives and those who are new to Earth. Those who are new will be less understanding of the need to conform. And also be those at the other end who are not conforming because they are to create new paths. Okay, I'm going to stop a minute because I was a little hesitant on reading that. And what Phillip is saying is both Excuse me, got something in the eye there. What Philip is saying is both humans and animals. If we're new to the earth, we probably won't understand the greater will. But he's also saying that those who are new to, those who do not conform, are either at this end of the spectrum, that they're new to the earth, or they're at this end and they're making those changes. They're the ones speaking up to make the changes that need to be made for this new evolution to come into being, for the human to continue to evolve, as well as animals. And the only way we evolve is to change and grow. And what I find beautiful in our human life today, but also very troubling for those who seem to have so much trouble with this evolution, is the young people, transgender young people, the gay people who have said, I can't fit in this box. I'm different. We're coming into a non-gender evolution. And that's beautiful if you think about it. But it's very hard for those who are at either end of the spectrum to really understand the center part. And the center part of humans have really a lot of trouble understanding the people on both ends. So we never know if it's over here, the human who's just starting out, or one who has lived the multiple lives and says it's time to evolve to create new human life or new animal life. Philip goes on to say, when we speak of animals in this context, we are including those with fins who swim in the waters and those with wings who fly in the air. So he's using animals as just the overall, the whole umbrella. Over eons, humans have worked to domesticate animals. Do not hear us judge, for we are not. Indeed, we have already stated that animals have soul contracts. Those soul contracts may be with humans, with other animals, and always, of course, with spirit or God, if you prefer that term. So when Philip says that we humans have domesticated, he's saying don't judge that. Don't say that's good or bad. It just is. Today, we want to address specifically those who become pets for humans. We have stated that restrictions must be applied. These restrictions are to be looked at from both human agendas and the pets. To do so, the human is the parent and the pet is the child. Both must fulfill and must be fulfilled while also keeping in mind the needs, the personality, and the natures of both the human parent and the animal child. He brings that animal child and human parent up later, so no judgment yet. This is not easy or no judgment, period. Okay. This is not easy for most humans. We are being kind when we say most. Let us say it is quite rare for a human to fully understand an animal's needs, even for those who are able to communicate with animals. To learn one another's language, the human must have patience, as must the pet. Those who communicate with animals of which they are not familiar are able to see through the animal's eyes and feel through their heart. This is a pet owner must learn to do as well. I'm going to stop there for a moment. As an animal communicator, when I'm working with an animal, I'm not using human language. I mean, I am using language, but I'm using language to help me understand what they're saying. So if we're looking for a lost pet, for example, I'm asking that animal to show me what you're seeing. Let me see through your eyes. And as I see through that animal's eyes, I can then describe that scene to the animal pet owner. So that's what he's saying here is become an animal communicator with your own animal. This is accomplished through love, observation, and desire to allow the pet to tell you their needs. As you learn the pet's needs and communicate your human needs to the pet, understanding and compromises are reached. In this learning process, both of you will grow. That growth will be of love. So our pets teach us love, but we also teach them love through our hearts, loving them. Our pets often have short times with humans. Once they have been given that which they came to give, their promise has been fulfilled and their soul contract fulfilled. It is then they are free to leave the human. Boy, that's a hard one, I know. But that is, a long time ago, somebody said to me, I said, I wish our pets didn't have to die so quickly, have such short lives. And that person said to me, that's because we have so many animals that we need to love. And I think that's true. Philip goes on to say, this must be respected, although it will cause grief, the loss of the animal, whether through death or other means. As the human studies their pet, it is helpful to look and learn about the traits of their breed, their history, and that of their birth parents, if known, and their ancestors. Watch their actions and reactions to life's events, then simply talk to them and, of course, listen to what they tell you. They do not speak in the words you speak. They speak through your heart in the subtle language that you will grow into understanding. Animals, like humans, are both spiritual beings as well as physical beings. We see them as children in our homes, and that is as it must be. However, it is also true that they have a consciousness that do not allow their true intelligence to be measured by human standards. If measured within their own realm, they are greatly respected. It is this respect the human must afford the animals. To do so then allows both human and pet to live together in the highest order of life. Love, listen, respect. This is all that is called for, all that is needed. And then I always say thank you, Philip, and he responds by saying thank you, dear one. And in this case, today, there were 4 more words added after the thank yous. And those words are woof, woof, meow, mew. So that's our message for this week about the animals. Thank you for the question. Johanna, yes, made it. Hello from cold Canada. And Anika, hi, Miss Diana. You're welcome. Hello. Well, Johanna, I think we got some of that cold down here. We had a storm come through last night. It's not as bad as the southern U.S., who got a lot of tornadoes, but we had just torrential rains and then lots and lots of wind. So I have tree branches and twigs and got a mess out there. Even had 2 trees come down, one in the yard and, well, both in the yard, but one in a part of the yard we keep as just woods. It's a mess, but I'm sure it's colder where you are. And this morning when Daisy and I went out, Daisy dog and I went out, all the mud puddles were frozen over. So yes, it's grown cold, and we had such warm weather. Well, you can tell the way I'm dressed, it's colder. And we had such beautiful warm weather. Was that just last week? So we are also expecting a little snow, I think, coming in next week. So bundle up. It's March. This is what we expect in Ohio in March, this changeable weather. One day it feels like spring and the next day it feels like winter, but I always say it can't last when March comes. So good to see all of you on here. I don't know what the weather's like in the UK. When I was in London a couple of times, every time I've been in London, it's been summertime or fairly warm weather. So I have to get back there. Let's get our message from Philip, shall we? And we just, kind of flip through, and that's where I'm going to stop. I'm thinking left page. If you thought left page, you and I are on the same intuition. If you thought right, be sure and listen to that, because I always read both messages, as you know. So left page, when you invest in guilt, you withdraw from love. When you invest in guilt, you withdraw from love. Well, I think that message goes along, and I'm going to take a moment to explain how it goes along with Philip's answering the question today. I think when our pets get old, I get a lot of calls from clients asking me how if they should take their pet to the vet to be euthanized, or if the pet wants to die naturally. And, that's a tough question because pets think of death very differently than we do. We don't think of death the way they do. And we do mourn their passing. If a pet leaves us, what we would say runs away or gets away from us, and we spend days or weeks or months and may or may not ever get that pet back home, there is that sense of guilt. There is that sense of, could we have done something differently? Did we do something right? With our pets, again, Phillip is telling us, when you invest in guilt, you withdraw from love. So no guilt allowed. Let it go. You did everything right. And it's the pet's decision. On the right side, to learn who you are, listen to yourself. To learn who you are, listen to yourself. There's always a higher purpose. There's always the bigger picture. And we don't always see that. But as humans, what we need to do, whether it's talking about our own lives or our pets, is just to look a little bit deeper. And as we see that bigger picture, as we look a little bit deeper, we find a lot more grace, shall I say. We find that grace for ourselves. And as we find that grace for ourselves, we're able to spread it into the world. Let me say hello. I look at the bigger screen over here if you wonder what I'm doing. Michelle, namaste. And she's from Quebec City. Oh, that's a beautiful, beautiful city. I haven't been there in years, but I absolutely loved it. A lot of people there. And I don't remember my high school French. So other than to say bonjour, I couldn't speak much French when I was there, but it was just a fun, beautiful place. And the food was remarkable. And then lucky to have a cold but sunny day coming from Judy in London. And that's what we have. As you can see behind me here, the window, we have a cold but sunny day. And those are nice days. And in London, a cold but sunny day. It did rain a couple of days when I was there, both times, I think. And I'm thinking I've been there twice or maybe 3 times. I can't remember right now, to tell you the truth. But twice I remember. The one time was difficult because my mother had just died, but the trip was already planned, and we were there in that area for like 10 days. And so went ahead and took the vacation, but part of it just isn't memorable because of being in the grief. Anyway, I'm so glad you all came, and I love having you on. Please let me know your questions, and we will answer those. Before I come on here, I do sit down, and as you know, I write it out in a journal. And this is my 175th journal, and we're almost at the end of that, so I'll start 176 quite soon here. And then I do this either a couple of hours, like Friday earlier in the day, or I will do this sometimes on Thursday if I have time. So I will answer all of the questions that are appropriate as we get to them. So if I haven't answered your question yet, give me time. We'll get there. And thank you. You are most welcome, Michelle. Okay, that's Judy. I'm sorry. I have to look up here. And to look straight ahead, the print is so small, it's just easier to look here at the big print. The downside of being 75. Anyway, my friends, I love you. I'm so grateful you're with me today, and come back every Friday. And I thank you. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for loving our world. And thank you for accepting the love I send to you. Until we meet again. You know what? I am going to have to get this coming week, probably maybe next week, if not this coming week, I will get out the monthly predictions for April. As I think most of you know, I'm leaving the predictions, I put them in a monthly rather than combine them. Usually don't combine them with our weekly. So, but I do want to say this about the rest of March, just to remind you, in case you forget what I said on the monthly for March, it came in like a lamb, it will go out like a lion. However, we are looking at some calming, not weather-wise, but we are looking, and even politically, it's still going to be an unrest in the U.S. and elsewhere. We are still making this transition. So keep our earth in love, keep your own lives in love, stay out of anger as much as you can, stay out of fear as much as you can. Listen to your intuition, that subtle inner voice. I love you. Until we meet again. Thank you.